Jennifer from my-colorado-kitchen.com. Today we are going to be making some sourdough Hawaiian rolls. We're going to start by taking our active starter. We're going to do 1 cup of active starter. You're going to mix these up at night. You're going to let them ferment overnight, and then we'll continue the process in that morning time frame. I like to mix these up in my stand mixer bowl as well. After that 1 cup starter, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of milk. Whole milk is what I like to use for this. Then we're going to add 1 cup of pineapple juice. If possible, get the not from concentrate pineapple juice. Next, we're gonna sweeten these with a 1/3 cup of honey. I love to buy the organic honey, the raw and unfiltered kind. We'll do a 1/3 cup of honey. That is the only way that these rolls are sweetened, that and the pineapple juice. So they are naturally sweetened. If you love no-fuss sourdough recipes where real ingredients meet everyday cooking, then hit that subscribe button. I post 2 new recipes each week. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of melted or mostly softened butter, and then a 1/2 tablespoon of salt. At this point, the only ingredient left to add is our flour, but I want to start mixing this all up in our mixer to get those wet ingredients all mixed together as much as we can. And then we're going to add that flour as it's mixing. You don't have to do that. You can absolutely just put it in a bowl. You can mix this by hand. I like to use a mixer because it's easier and it's a little less messy on my hands, but either way would be just fine. So I'm gonna get this mixer out. I love this mixer. I'm gonna put the dough hook on it, and then we will add our bowl to it. Mine is programmable, so it has a knead function, so that's what I'm going to use, is the knead function. If you're using a different stand mixer, then you'll just want to turn it on and let it knead for a few minutes. I will link this mixer in the description below. I just got it a few weeks ago and is by far my favorite stand mixer I've ever had. So I'm gonna set it to the knead function, and then I'll let it go. While that's going, I'm going to add my flour. So I'm going to add 3 3/4 cup of flour. We're just using organic, all-purpose, unbleached flour for this. You're just going to mix it up until all the ingredients are nicely incorporated. Once it's nice and mixed up, then we're going to set it aside. It needs to ferment for 8 hours or overnight. That's what it'll look like. So I'm either gonna put a flour sack towel on top of it, a wet one, or I love these lids that you can just set right on top. You're just gonna set this aside and then let it ferment. The next morning, after it's been fermented overnight, we're going to get a 9x13 pan. I love this specific pan because it's nice and deep. We're going to butter it with some soft butter. This is just so our rolls don't stick. After our pan is buttered, we're just gonna set that aside. We're gonna grab some flour. We're just gonna put some on our workstation as we're going to cut and roll out those rolls. About 2 tablespoons is fine. You could add more if you wanted. I went ahead last night and I mixed up a batch of our sourdough Hawaiian rolls already. So I have a bowl here that is fermented overnight. Now we're going to cut it into those 18 pieces, and we're going to roll each roll and put them in our baking tray. You can see that dough has definitely risen quite a bit, especially from the little bit of dough that we had just mixed up, which is what we want. So after you put that flour down on your workstation, you're just going to get this dough out. It is a soft dough. I like to roll it around in that flour just to make it easier to cut and not stick. Then we're gonna cut it into 18 pieces. If you wanted bigger rolls, you could cut it into less pieces. It doesn't really matter, but 18 seems to be the perfect amount with a good sized roll. You could use a kitchen scale to measure these to make sure they were even. I am not that picky, so I don't do that. It's just an extra step that I don't want to do, but you are welcome to do that. Again, no fuss sourdough here. Once we've got those rolls cut into 18 pieces, then we're just going to roll them into balls. I will show you how I do that. So I take a piece of dough And then I'm just going to take each of the sides here and I'm just going to fold it in to the center. And we're just kind of pushing in each of these sides to make it to the top. And we're gonna roll it into the nice little ball. So then I turn that bottom portion where I was pulling all of it together, and I just turn that over and then I put that right in my pan. You're just going to repeat that 18 times. The dough can be a little sticky, so get some flour on your hands. These sourdough Hawaiian rolls make the perfect slider sandwich. I like to get some chicken, I shred it up, we add some barbecue sauce, some provolone cheese, and we have nice little slider sandwiches. They also make the perfect accompaniment for any of your holiday meals, or if you just want rolls in general, we love these homemade sourdough Hawaiian rolls. For the full recipe details, I'll link them in the description below. Also, if you're new to sourdough, if you've never done sourdough, I will link my how to make a sourdough starter in the description below as well. So watch that. It'll give you tips and tricks on how to actually make a sourdough starter and keep it alive and where to feed it, how to feed it, all of that stuff. After all those rolls are rolled into balls, then we are going to cover this with a flour sack towel, a wet one, and then we're going to let it rise again for 1 to 2 hours until they're doubled in size. And once they're doubled in size, like this batch here, then we're going to make sure the oven is on at 375 degrees, and we're gonna just stick them in the oven for right around 30 minutes. That 30 minutes is up, so we got those rolls out of the oven. And then the last thing we need to do is brush those tops with some melted butter. So I like to just melt a little bit of butter in these glass measuring bowls and then use this awesome basting tool just to brush it on. You need to let these cool in the pan just for at least a few minutes before you dig into them. They are so good warm. They are also good at room temperature as well, so you don't have to eat them right away if you need to take them and make them for a gathering or something later. They are absolutely beautiful and smell delicious. I hope you guys like these sourdough Hawaiian rolls. Thanks for making them with me. If you do like this recipe, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and hit that bell. For the full printable recipe details, they're on my website at my-colorado-kitchen.com, or I'll link them in the description below. From my kitchen to yours, happy cooking!